All good? Hey everybody, Steve Marks here from Blackstar at Intersound in Dursley. I'm just going to do a quick demonstration of the brand new Blackstar Unity Pro Bass System amps. This is my car stock that I've been taking around with me recently, and also gigging myself live at the weekends in a pub band that I play in. So I just want to break it down for you so you can exactly see what's going on the panel and what sort of tones you can get, because there are a lot of tones you can get out of this baby. Firstly, they start with small combos. There's a 30 watt, a 60 watt and a 120. Then there's a crossover point to a 250 watt combo and then a 500 watt combo. This one's the 210 500 watt that I've got here. So it's the top of the line of what we've done so far. So if we take a look at the top panel of the amp, there's a 0 dB or minus 10 dB pad switch for your active or passive instruments, but if you want to mess around with gain and headroom, you can use that as well. The input stage is analog. The rest of the amp is Class D digital, so that's worth remembering. So level wise, we're at minus 10 at the moment, roughly pushing the amp about halfway. If I just switch that, you know, hopefully on that video you can tell there's a lot more punch if you need. Okay, so first thing to see is we've got three styles of voicing: classic, modern and flat. Okay, so what that means is you can really reshape the way the bass feels, its vocabulary, the way it feels under your fingers. And one of the most important things that you will notice on this amp is there's three responses as well: linear, 6L6 and 6550. So three voices, three responses. If you can appreciate, every voice has three responses, every response has three voices. So it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You wouldn't use every apparatus at once, but the tools are there for you to use and tailor the amp to your tastes, if you like. So what works well is all of them in order, three examples. So flat works really well with linear, modern works really well with 6L6, and then classic works really well with 6550. 6550 is a very large tube or valve, similar to that of a KT88 that you would expect in large valve products in the bass world. So I'm just going to play a lick on the first two settings, and you'll see the change, hopefully, or you'll hear the change from more of a Class D style to more of a sort of American rounder tone. So starting with flat and linear. Modern, 6L6. And then classic 6550, you've got much more of a growl, sort of that of an SVT style. That kind of thing, so much more growl to it. Could be Mark Hoppus, could be Phil Lynott. You get the idea. Then we've got three choices of drive with an overall blend control. Okay, so this isn't just the amount of drive, it is, but it's also a blend between completely dry and completely wet of the distortion signal. So you've got OD, which is a natural clipping preamp; distortion, which is based on a sort of a very popular, current, expensive distortion stomp box in the front end; and then fuzz, the last choice, which is sort of a 70s fuzz vibe, EH vibe. So you can choose whatever you want there, but let's just load it in and put the mix about 50%, and then I'll engage it from the FS12 board, which is an optional extra. You do get the FS13 supplied. When you're just linking the two-way, this gives you your overdrive kicked in and out, and then your compressor on and off, which we'll come to later. But on here, when they're linked together, you get a choice of voicing, overdrive kicked in, and then we'll come to the rest in a moment. So if we go, let's see, distortion, that was overdrive that you just heard. powerful that it's setting all the classical guitars off. But if we go 100%, it's just completely dirty, you know. If we go 25%, it's mostly clean with an undercurrent of dirt. So you can really tailor it to be yours. I can kick that in whenever I want with the board, you know. So, coming to the next options on the board and the panel after our EQ. So we've got 3-band EQ, low, mids and highs. So if we set that sort of central, it's quite a good sound for any bass straight out the bat. Then you've got sort of your low ends. You've got your sweepable semi-parametric mids, so you can choose where you want that to cut. Then we've got chorus and octave options, which you can manually select here. But if you've got the larger board, you can switch those on independently or simultaneously. Now, on the back of the amp, if I can just show you this side, there are 2 small trim pots for chorus level and octave blend. You've got a choice between low or high octave or a mixture of both, which is quite cool. Chorus, the rate is set, but you've got a level of minimum or maximum. So I'll show you that now. I've got the chorus set to max and the octave set to low. So I'll link those on the board with the mix so you can hear those. If I go for a minimum chorus, it's still there, it's still in the mix, so dry to minimum chorus. Still there, but minimal. Then you've got octave as well. If I just hold that note as well on a low note, comes across really well, there's no wobble. Typically some octaves you hear the shift, pitch shift. I can add chorus in there. Like stomp boxes, I could also add octave and drive. As well. The last switch on the FS12 gives you your chromatic tuner. So just to show you how smooth that is, if I just detune the G. There we go. Then the 2-way, when it's added, gives you optional compressor, which you can set the threshold and the attack all in one dial, just at the top there. Again, you can manually switch it on. But if we leave it about 1 o'clock, it gives you a nice volume lift, a bit more of a tighter tone, great for that sort of slap vibe. And I can link it in from here. So here's the normal level, and then compressor, slight lift there, again. Lastly, on the foot switch you've got a choice of effects loop on or off, if you've got anything in the loop. And while we're on that subject, I'll show you the rear panel again just for the extra features, but you can see from the board and the unit it's pretty simple, and it's about dialing in your tone. Blackstar's ethos, the sound in your head, it's always been their tagline. It's about letting the player just find their own tone and just switch things in and out as you need them. You don't have to use the boards. You can just dial in a nice clean tone, use your volumes and your tones on your bass, just keep it simple. But there's no banks, there's no patches, there's none of that. It's just on or off stomp boxes. So yeah, the rear panel of the amp. Let's just spin that round again. So, what we have are our output options. So we've got USB out for recording straight to your door, headphones if you need to jam silently. There's an MP3 there if you want to just send a link from your phone or your mobile device with some drum backing tracks to groove along to. And then we've got our emulated or DI out. There's a choice. So emulated gives you a cab sim as well as everything you're hearing, all the dirt, all the chorus, all the effects. DI is just clean, which is a good option because if you're running your amp with drive, it's going to be clean out of here, but you could mic it simultaneously and take 2 signals. Ground lift if you've got any hum or problems on stage. Effects loop if you're using any external effects, so you can put that between the preamp and the power amp. These are our levels of chorus and octave, down or up, as you can see, and we talked about briefly. And then we've got this thing, which is really super important, cab link. What we've done is build a powered extension cab to go with this range, which is physically the same size as this. So you could either have it as a stack or you could have it side by side. And it will give you an extra 250 watts of power hitting your existing 500 watts. So you've got a 750 watt stack that you can still fit on the back seat. It's pretty cool. But also the powered cab can be used passive or active. So you could use it with a little Sans amp DI or something like that. Any pedal that has a preamp on it. There was even a guy at the Winter NAMM show that had an upright bass and he plugged into a small preamp pedal straight into the back of the powered cab, and it worked tremendously well for him. There's a volume trim pot on there on the back of the extension cab, so you can have as much of it as you want, but it really feeds the existing power. But they're also available to daisy chain, so you could link maybe 4 together from your existing single, and you could do a large festival like Glastonbury or something like that. But yeah, so 3 small, 2 large, Eminence drivers. Really a pro bit of kit, and these retail about $579, I think, and that's for a 210 500 watt combo. So thank you for watching. This is the bass Unity system from Blackstar. Exciting times, but get your orders in with Intersound if you are interested. See you soon.